Everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the face, right? You want to learn how to coach somebody? When you're in the fight, you're not looking for certain things. I was waiting for the objection, taking the hit, and then coming back. As a corner man, I could see things the sales guy couldn't see.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Coaches Podcast. My name is Pat Johnson. The Coaches Podcast, we bring you the top performing coaches among all industries, and our goal is to leave you walking away with a game-winning playbook. This week, our guest is the sales coach from Help Heating and Plumbing, Tommy Black, everybody. You've had a career coaching, training in so many different industries. I think you said you owned an MMA gym at one point and you were a corner man for a while.
Yeah, well, first I played rugby for 15 years on a men's traveling team, and I ended up coaching that for a while. And I wanted to get into something not so dangerous. So I switched to MMA. And this is when it was real popular. You know, I'm from Cincinnati, and Rich Franklin was champion of the world at the time.
Right.
And I jumped in his gym and trained. Wasn't as good, you know, but fought for a couple years, and then had my own gym and was a corner man. And I'll tell you what, if you want to learn how to coach somebody or coach something or manage somebody, get into an aggressive sport with a bunch of men that's not getting paid to do it. They'll tell you real quick if you're doing a good job or not.
Wow. So both rugby and MMA, that was just passion on the part of the players?
Yes.
Yeah, no commissions?
Yeah. I never got to a professional level of fighting. So, I coached a few professional fighters with their stand-up. I was more stand-up. George Euler was my jiu-jitsu guy. He was a black belt. So he did the ground game, and I did the stand-up.
How do you effectively coach someone, give them feedback when they're either about to get punched or kicked in the face or have just been punched or kicked in the face?
So what's Mike Tyson say? Everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the face, right? And that's kind of how it equates to the sales. That's what I tell some of my sales guys is, we utilize Rilla. I had one the other day. Somebody had a positive objection. So you're used to negative objection. So I don't want to do it now. I got to talk to somebody later. Well, this guy was like, yeah, I'm going to do it, right? Yeah, I'm going to buy. I just got to move some stocks around. And he came back. He's like, man, I got the sale. I got it. I'm like, dude, you did. Did you get a signature? He's like, no. I'm like, you didn't get the sale. You got a positive objection. But they get in there, and we've got a process, and they get in there, and they get hit with an objection they weren't thinking about, and it's like getting punched in the face. You know, they stumble back. As a corner man, so like when I do ride-alongs, physical ride-alongs, when I used to do physical ride-alongs, I could see things that the sales guy couldn't see. Like a fighter can't. When you're in the fight, you're not looking for certain things, right? And so, like as a corner man in a MMA, hey, every time you jab or every time you feint, he drops his right hand. So next time, go from the jab straight to the hook, or feint, and then as soon as he drops that right hand, go right there, And then they're, oh, okay, thanks. And then when they go back in, they can see it. But when you're in the fight, you can't see this stuff. Same thing with sales. Flip it and zip it, right? These guys that get nervous and they start talking. I was at a table with a sales guy and a lady, and he was like, it was decision-making time, you know, and he gave her the prices, and she got quiet. She was thinking about it, and you never know what these people are thinking. You don't know if they're thinking about moving money around or if they got a car payment that's about to end. You don't know what they're thinking, so you just got to be quiet. She's quiet, and he's like, hey, this is some nice wallpaper you got here. And she's like, not even listening. She's looking down. He's like, who did the wallpaper? And she's still locked into her decision-making mode. And he's like, ma'am. And she literally does this. She goes, and like shook out of the, and she goes, what? And he goes, who did your wallpaper? And she's like, I don't know. And then she's like, I got to think about this.
Yeah, she's like, I don't care. Stop. You had me in the flow state.
Yeah. And so I pulled it, afterwards, I told him, I'm like, man, dude, I'm like, you got to, and he didn't know that. He was just so nervous, and he was caught up in the fight. Not the fight, but, I'll tell you another analogy I make from fighting and selling is I tell my guys, we have a presentation, and when you present, before you give the numbers, there's certain things you have to shut down before you present. You knock out the objection before you get to them. Yeah. I've had salespeople who, they pride themselves on their objection handling. When I fought, I like to do a Muay Thai with my hands like this. And whenever someone would throw a punch, I'd grab the back of my head and absorb the punch with my arm.
Oh,
right?
neat. You'd block.
Yeah, I'd block, and then I'd counter punch. And that's what I like to do. Like an objection handler, I was waiting for the objection, taking the hit, and then coming back, right? And it wasn't hurting me because I was blocking it. But I had a boxing coach one time told me, like, your best fighters, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray, if you ever watch them, they're dodging and ducking. So I tell my sales guys, like, best way to handle objections is to not get to the objection. Not get it out of the way before you get there. Don't be that guy who is actually in an argument and is actually fighting with the customer. Like, oh, yeah, well, you got to talk to your wife about,
I don't make the prices.
yeah.
Then it becomes a debate.
Yeah, it's a
versus
debate.
The proactive handling.
Yeah. I always tell my guys, picture a long hallway and your customer's at the end of it, and all the doors are open, and each door is a price objection, or I got to talk to my wife, or I got to think about it, or the right company or right person. And your job is, before you give that money, before you give the price, is to walk down that hallway and close every door. Hey, this is the right company. I've been doing this. I'm the right person. I've been doing this for 20 years. My company's been around for 100 years. Close that door. Walk up. Is your wife here? Is there anybody else that needs to be involved with this conversation? Close that door. And as you go down the hallway, you're closing all the doors. And then once all the doors are closed, you give them that price, and their natural reaction is anxiety. And they're looking for that door.
I can't get out.
Yeah, but you've closed all these doors. And then you open the door like, would it be crazy to go ahead and move forward today? And they see that anxiety release to go out your door.
The door with the exit sign.
Yeah, the nice door. So you open that door, and then would it be crazy to go ahead and just move forward today? And then it's easier to get a yes that way.
So you were in pretty intense coaching environments, tough guys, right? Yeah. High testosterone. If they didn't agree with your feedback, like, how did that change maybe your coaching approach, your quality of coaching?
I don't think it changed me as much as it shaped me. That's where I learned to coach. And that's why, as a matter of fact, I just told them the way it was. Hey, this is what you need to do. And if they didn't do it that way, I'd point out, like, hey, how you just got knocked out? Or you got tackled, you want to do it a certain way, you want to win, this is the way you do it.
You've done hundreds of ride-alongs. One thing I've noticed from some of the calls that you've critiqued, it doesn't have to be big feedback, but it's almost like a gesture, show your rep, your technician, your fighter that you care and that you're in it with them.
Yes. They'll thrive off of it. If you're utilizing Rilla, they'll thrive off of it. I'm over at several different departments, right? And I was doing sewer sales and I was doing HVAC sales. And they hired a new sewer sales guy, so I didn't want to step on his feet, right? Mm-hmm. So I concentrated on the HVAC. And I had guys that were really good and utilized Rilla, and they started falling off. And I was sitting in a meeting, and the sewer sales guy was like, so-and-so's not doing very well anymore. And I'm like, well, what's going on? So I pulled him aside. We were buddies. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, you're not even using Rilla anymore. He's like, yeah. He's like, I thought we stopped using it. Like, no one was critiquing me. No one was paying attention. So from that moment on, I try to hit every one of my guys every day, and just a little something, and then they know that it matters, that I still care, I'm still watching. I try to give everybody a little Tommy time.
Tommy time. Well, it does. It comes back to like that which gets inspected gets respected. Yeah. How would you kind of instill that? Because I've talked to a lot of managers that have that fixed mindset where they go, this guy's a top performer, I don't need to coach him. How would you explain to them like the urgency and the importance of coaching every single player?
The psychology of a top performer, if they're, depending on what industry you're in, if you're a top sales guy, you're making pretty good money, right? And they get to a certain point where they're not in it for the money anymore. They're in it for the challenge. They're in it for the rush, the enjoyment. Yeah, they love the game. The way I coach the older guys is that I make it a game. It's not so much you're not doing it right. It's, hey, great job on this,
Once you know how to play the game, how good can you get? It's like a high score on Galaga.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like bragging rights, like shifting those goalposts a little further.
Yeah, some of the best old video games, they didn't have an ending.
Tell me about poker. Because I know you spent time learning all you could about human psychology, and how did that lead you into your coaching today?
Yeah, so back in, 2001, 2002, you couldn't turn the TV on without seeing World Series of Poker.
Yeah.
And I'd have a bunch of buddies over. I mean, we'd have like 30 people. We'd have 3 tables going in my garage, in my basement. And I lived near a casino. I'd go to the casino. And so I was wanting to get better. Read some books, doing some research. But one book was by Phil Hellmuth. What he would do is he would sit at a table with 10 people, and he wouldn't play the first couple hands, fold. And all he would do is pay attention to who was sitting at his table. And he came up with, I think it was like five different animals. And each animal had its own personality. Not to go too deep into poker, but there was the mouse. And the mouse does not bet unless they have a good hand. They fold everything unless it's a pair of queens or a pair of kings, top 10 hands. So if the mouse jumps in, you fold, He's not bluffing. He's
Yeah, there's something there.
yeah. And then you have like the elephant, and the elephant knows it's a liar's game and will follow people to the very end and keep calling. So if you got a good hand, you try to get the elephant involved, kind of bluff a little bit like you're lying, and then he'll follow you all the way to the end.
Raise the pot.
Yeah. So he's got all these 5 different animals around and he plays each person to their personality, not so much the cards he's dealt as much as it is to their personality. And I applied that to sales. I came up with, I'm not clever enough to put animals to them, but I've got several different personalities that for homeowners, customers. And it's not trickery. It's not woo ha ha ha, I got them now. It's what do they want from this visit? How are they going to enjoy this?
Tell me about some of those. We talked about the squirrel or the mouse and the elephant.
Okay, yeah. So,
but those personality archetypes, when you go in the home, maybe what they are and how you can kind of detect them to navigate that situation, kind of change your approach.
So the first personality I always tell them about is innovators, known in this industry as engineer type brains. When I walked in with this, they're like, this is an engineer. And you're dealing with an engineer as soon as you walk in or an innovator as soon as you walk in, because they got the Ring doorbell staring you in the face. Or while you're knocking on the door, you look up and you got security cameras looking at you.
I see you coming. Yeah.
You walk in and they've got a huge, in the middle of their living room, they got a huge computer set up, and they want everybody to see their computer set up. The majority of innovators usually work from home. They own their own business. These people want technology. They could have they could just moved in, have a 4-year-old system. But if you start talking about modulating equipment and you talk about technology and all this, they'll get rid of a brand new system. Yeah,
smart home.
But they're willing to. That's what they want. They want the highest technology. They want the best. They want, they're not very price sensitive. They're willing to pay. They know what's good and they're willing to pay for it.
To be on that cutting edge and say, I have the top of the line.
Yes. That's what they want. The next one would be like a caretaker. Caretaker is someone who's had a family, raised the family up, and the kids have moved on, and now they take care of their house like they take care of a child. If you have any kids, if you take your kids to the doctor and the doctor goes, little Johnny's arm. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Okay, here's what I want you to do, Patrick. I'm going to write you a prescription for anti-inflammatories. I'm going to write you a prescription for a sling. I want you to go pick up a sling for little Johnny, and I want you to come to physical therapy once a week for about a month. And he hands it to you. What are you going to do?
You got to do it. It's your kid.
Yeah, I'm going to get a second opinion. I don't know about this.
Give him a shot.
It's got to be done. How many times in the sales world have you been selling something at the very end? They go, right before they sign, they go, it's got to be done. You had a caretaker. You had someone that's like, I got it, And when you're the salesperson and you come into their home, you are that doctor. When they call you to come in, you are the expert. To a caretaker, they're bringing you in. And when you go, I know we're here for an HVAC system, but Mrs. Johnson, your water heater is like 15 years old. This thing can pop. You're gonna have problems. Caretaker will be like, you know what? Yeah, okay, it's got to be done.
Throw it in.
Let's get it all taken care of at once.
Okay, so we got the innovator, our engineer brain.
Yeah,
they like computer. They want top of the line stuff. We have our caretaker. It's almost like your home is a child or a family member.
I want to take care of it.
What else we got?
Traditionalist. So as I go through these, you might find which one you are. I'm a traditionalist. I got the stupid little, right?
There we go.
You're going to find this on all my clips.
The Polo Man.
Yeah, I can buy this shirt from J.C. Penney's for $15, but I go and I buy it for $120 because it's got that stupid little horse on it, right?
Yeah.
But it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Like I want the best stuff. That's just how that's
good product, reputable.
Yeah.
It'll last a long time.
And I don't, my company in Cincinnati, been around for 100 years. It's the biggest company in Cincinnati. People call us. We get a lot of traditionalists because they expect, they want the prime service. They want the whole experience. So the traditionalist is looking for, and they know they're going to pay a little bit more money. I had, when I was at Terminex, we sat in a big circle. We didn't have any inside sales reps, so I'd pull my guys in about once a week, once every 2 weeks, and we'd rehash all of our proposed not solds and try to, see what's going on with them all. And so I was like, all right, guys, congratulations. You've all just got a raise today. You're for the next 2 hours, you're all sales managers. So take your proposed not sold, pass it to the guy to the right, and when you get this list, call him as the sales manager and ask him how everything went. And just ask him, just to try to rehash and see if they got the work done.
Sure.
And one guy, he's a good sales guy, nice guy, great guy. And he goes, oh, Tom, he's like, maybe you should show us how it's done. I'm like, okay, calling me out.
Okay, smart ass.
Yeah. So we're in a room full of sales guys, and I call the first guy on the list. I'm like, hey, Mr. Johnson. I'm like, this is Tom, the sales manager here. Just wanted to see how it went the other day. He goes, horrible. Tell that guy if he comes out again, I'm gonna fucking shoot him. And the whole room's like, and I had it on speakerphone, and I was like, well, great. This is why I'm calling. What happened? What's going on? He's like, so I moved here, bought this nice house. He came out. He said, I needed termite coverage for the house because I called Terminix because I know you're nationwide.
Yep.
And you're reputable and you're going to do a good job and you're going to take care of my home. That guy came out, started at $6,000. By the time he was done talking, it was $3,000. He goes, that's some bull crap. Why didn't he start there? I knew what this was going to cost. What? And I'm like, well, I apologize. Maybe there was a deal going on that day, or maybe something. He's like, well, I said, is there anything I can do, to make this up to you? And he goes, nope, because I went with Orkin because they charged me $8,000. And he's like, but I know I got it done. And I was like, well, all right, so I tried to save face, and apologize and everything. Mm-hmm. But when we got off the call, I said, you see what you had there? I said, you had a guy that called us because he knew we were going to do the job, we were going to do it right, and that's why he called us. And he wasn't afraid to spend money. A lot of these sales guys, they get in there and they're scared. They're scared about their price. They're scared about what they're offering, and they think the customer doesn't want anything. They lose so much. But you got to know the personality. The next personality would be a do-it-yourselfer. This is what everybody fears.
Oh, dangerous, right? Scary.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer too. I'm a proud member of YouTube University, right? I change my own oil. I change my brakes. I pull it up on YouTube, check it out, and I know I can save a couple bucks on it. But I enjoy doing it too. These people, when you get out there, they don't want the song and dance. They don't want, I just want your price. Just give me a price. No. Just give me a price. What's the last price? Race to the bottom. So I'll revert back to another time with pest control. They had a squirrel in their covered porch, and it was connected to the house, and they could hear the squirrel running around in there, so they called us. So I went out there with the sales guy. So we go out, check the whole house out. As soon as you walk in, he's got half of the wooden floor done in his living room, and the rest of it's piled up, right? Big pile of wood. We go outside. He's got half a fence, and he's got a big pile of lumber where he's putting it up. And he's even like, oh, watch your step here. Yeah, I got a project going on. And we go out, and we finally go out to the porch, and the guy goes, so what are you going to do here? My sales guy goes, well, you see that big branch coming from the tree hanging over top of the porch? He's like, probably cut that off. That's probably his highway. That's how he's coming back and forth. We'll cut that down so he can't get up there. And then the hole is about this big. He goes, so what we'll do is we'll go to Home Depot, probably get a piece of wood, put it over it, and have a hole just big enough for that squirrel to get out. And then we'll put a one-way gate on so he can get out but can't get back in. And we'll wait for about 5 or 6 days. He's got to come out and eat and drink. And we'll come back out, and then we'll take that down, and then we'll replace it with the wood that's there, paint it. You won't even know. The guy goes, okay. My sales guy sits down, draws it out. The guy goes, got to think about it. We walked out, and I go, you know what happened in there, right? And
he's like, the answer
he's
key.
Like, what? I was like, you just taught him how to do it. I'm like, you obviously, you obviously, he's a do-it-yourselfer. You obviously just taught him how to do it. And he's like, man. He's like, well, what should I have done? I said, you should have focused on the guys doing the work. My guys are certified. They're state certified. They hold licenses. They're trained. Over 200 hours of training a year. They do this every single day, day in, day out, year round. These guys are top quality craftsmen. They're going to do the best. And you don't say how you're going to do it. You brag about the company and how long they've been doing it, and they're going to take care of your problem. And the big thing about do-it-yourselfers is that they always know that they can probably find someone else cheaper. So if you do work for a company that offers financing, that's how you beat chucking a truck. I might be $10,000. This guy over here might be $4,000. But if I can get you in a comfortable payment at $100 a month, this guy needs the $4,000 before he gets started.
Yeah,
I'm going to win that. I can beat that chucking a truck because I offer financing. So that's how we deal with. That's how you can deal with do-it-yourselfers.
I'm curious, you've had such a prolific coaching career, man, going from rugby, MMA, Terminex, now at Help. If you are a coach, regardless of industry, but you're someone that's out there trying to train people, empower people, make them better, what's a piece of advice? Or maybe one of the most important findings that you've found?
I guess I'll just always better them and always let them keep their ego. It's so harsh. That's why I guess I have so much success, is that I let the guys keep their ego. And you have different levels of salespeople. You have people that don't want your help, and that's okay. Because in the sales world, eat what you kill, right? Like if you're not selling, you're not getting it. And then after a while, when these guys see the other guys you are helping succeed, then they're like, hey. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing with the sales world, is that you have a lot of mavericks. They see guys come and go that can't pick it up naturally. They're proud of what they've done. So it's very hard to go in somewhere to a guy who's been selling for a while and tell him to change what he's doing. Because, hey, I survived all of this by doing this. So I don't go in there and go, stop. I just go, if you want to make a little more money, you can do this. Look at this guy. I brought in a dude that was an air traffic controller. And in a couple of months, he was closing at 80%. And these guys were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, do you want to know? I'll let you know if you want to know. And then they start listening a little bit, and I'm like, well, he's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this, and they go, okay. And then they'll just add one thing to their act, right? To their stand-up act. And then they do a little more, and they do a little more, and they do a little more, and eventually they have the process.
One last thing, I saw you post this on LinkedIn. It was a Walt Whitman quote, pretty famous one. But a man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read.
Yes.
And you talked a little bit about coaching and tools. What do you mean by that?
Well, with Rilla, I see so many of these companies that are picking up Rilla and they're not doing anything with it. So, or salespeople who won't push the button. I talked to them. I'm like, guys, like, you've got it. Why don't there's a reason why you're not pushing that button. What is it? And usually you got to dig down. I can gauge the temperature of all my sales guys by how much they're using Rilla, without not even talking about coaching their sales. Mm-hmm. If I get someone who completely just doesn't want to utilize it at all, there's something going on. Don't just give it to your guys and let them go off with it and hopefully it magically does something. It's a teamwork. You have to have a coach the guys can use it and they can coach each other. They can stay with that, but it needs to be monitored.
Tommy, that's all I got. I appreciate you jumping on, man.
Well, I appreciate you having me out. Love coming out and seeing you guys.
All right, let's get lunch.
Good bunch of guys.
Appreciate you, man.